The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, normally people who get to lead the address and reply debate are seen to be people of substance, people of principle, and people who are used. No, I went last. I went last in my group in 1984. But, sir, we've just had the second speech in the House from that member, and we understand why the gap between the two was so long, Mr Speaker, listening to that. Mr Speaker, this bill...
Point of order, Alfred Nurra. No, that's not a point of order. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, the member reinforces the point of how much substance he is bringing to the House and how forgettable he is. Mr Speaker, the point that I want to make to the House is that this is the legislation of the people who do not have the fortitude to take the big decisions. John Key puts all his assets in a trust and then says we won't look at the super aid. He puts his assets in a trust to avoid this legislation and then attacks the poor people of Wainuiomata who save up and get a house that's worth $200,000. Sir, that is the approach of the National Party. They shake down the paper boys and girls. The other thing that we haven't got to yet, the group, Mr Speaker, they've hit the most as well. It is the disabled people who deliver the brochures. The disabled who push their pushchairs around, who are contractors, who work more than 20 hours, who don't get a daily rate, and they have lost their exemptions. So it is the young, it is the old, it is the poor, and it is the disabled who are being attacked by this government. Sir, and do they have the bravery? Do they have the courage? Do they have the gumption to send this bill to a select committee? No. Do they? No. No, they don't, Mr Speaker. They are not prepared. They are not prepared to have people who have saved up for their $220,000 house, who paid the mortgage off over 50 or 60 years, Mr Speaker, they are not prepared to have them come to the Parliament, to a select committee, and to have their say. And so afraid were they that they did not include this bill on the table of the House during the budget speech yesterday. They did not put the press statement in the media pack yesterday. They hid it. They hid it. It was secret legislation. They did not put it on their website until this morning because, Mr Speaker, they are not prepared to front up to the Kiwis. It is a secret agenda. It might be a small secret agenda, but it is a secret attack on older New Zealanders. Mr Speaker, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we do have to go back to Muldoon or Bolger or even Shipley. They would have had the guts to stand up in this Parliament as part of the budget.
Order. I don't think that's a good term to use that phrase, so just mind the member, and also must use full names when you're referring to people. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I think we've always been allowed to refer to former politicians by their surnames. And Muldoon, Shipley, Bolger would have always had the guts to stand up in here. They would have stood up in here if they had a policy like that, and they would have said, this is our policy, and we're prepared to go to the people in an election, and we're prepared to go to a select committee in order to debate this. But, sir, what have we here? We're not allowed to use the words which properly describe members opposite, But, sir, they are the people. If I was going into the trenches, I wouldn't want them beside me. I wouldn't want them beside me, Mr. Speaker, because I'd rather have people with courage beside me. I'd rather have people with integrity, and they lack both.
Order. 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 I'm calling Denise Roach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.